Om Asmatgurubhyo Namaha. Krishno Rakshatu no Jagatraya Guruhu. Krishnam Namasyamyaham. Krishne Namarasatruvo Vinihataha. Krishnaya Tasmai Namaha. Krishna Deva Samuthitam Jagadidam. Krishnasya Dasosmiham. Krishne Tisthati Sarvametadakhilam. He Krishna Samrakshamam. Jai Srimanarayana. With blessings of Sri Chinajya Swamiji. We're continuing chapter 4. We finished sloka 22. We'll start with sloka 23 today. Sloka 23. Can everyone see?
Yes, sir.
Sloka 23.
Yeah.
Okay. Sloka 23. This chant. Gata sangasya muktasya
Gata-sangasya
jnanavastita chetasaha
jnanavastita-chetasaha
yajnaya-charatah karma
yajnaya-charatah
samagram praviliyate.
samagram praviliyate.
Let's chant together. Gata
Gata-sangasya muktasya jnanavastita-chetasaha yajnaya-charatah samagram praviliyate.
Jai Srimanarayana. So, Lord Krishna is continuing to explain us about the Akarma. Akarma, that is the jnana that supports karma, or jnana with which we need to perform our karmas so that they are not binding. Okay, so the karmas when we do in this way, right, they become jnana swarupa, right? They're basically we, like Lord Krishna said, one who sees akarma and karma and karma and akarma, right? So that person is not bound. So we are learning about akarma, which is the jnana part of karma, with which we need to perform our karmas. Gata sangasya. Once like whose attachments are all gone. Gata sangasya. Whose attachments are gone. Now, what are the attachments? The attachment to all other objects. One who is free from material attachments. Okay? So, gata sangasya, muktasya, one who is of the one who is liberated. Okay? From liberated from what? The sense of possessions. So one is the attachments, the other one is having that sense of possession. We need to be freed from both of them. One who is whose attachments are gone from all the materialistic things, materialistic objects, and one who is free from from the sense of possession. This is mine. This belongs to me. That kind of a position. And jnana avastita chetasaha. Okay, whose mind is established in qualified knowledge. Jnana avastita chetasaha. Once we start going through the Bhagavad Gita and look at each word, right, it becomes simple to understand. These words repeat. Okay, So jnana avasthita chetasaha, whose mind is established in qualified knowledge. Yajnaya acharataha, okay, whose work is transformed into yajna. Okay, our work is done as yajna, okay, for the purpose of yajna or as yajna. Okay, then what happens? Karma samagram praviliyate. His karma or karmic bondage is samagram praviliyate, wholly destroyed or dissolved, right? So when we are free from attachments to materialistic objects, when we are free from the sense of possessions, when when our mind is established with the qualified knowledge, the akarma part that we learned, right? How we need to perform those activities. And with that, if we do the work as yajna, then karma samagram praviliyate, the karmic bondage is completely dissolved, destroyed. Okay, so what? First of all, if we perform our karmas with the support of the qualified knowledge, akarma, then we do not acquire karmic bondage from that act itself. Like let's say I'm performing an activity. Okay, if I think I am doing the activity, this is my activity and the result belongs to me, right? Then I acquire karmic bondage as a result of performing the activity. Activity may be good or bad, doesn't matter. If I am doing any activity with a sense of I am doing it, my activity for my sake, right? To get the result, to enjoy for myself, right? If I am doing that, then I am acquiring karmic bondage. So if I am performing the activity with akarma, I will not get the karmic bondage from performing that activity. Not only that, it clears my previous karmic bondage as well. So when I am performing my duties that are assigned to me in this particular life, I not only I can clear, I mean, I will not be getting the karmic bondage of as a result of performing the activities of this life. I can clear the karmic bondage that is in store for me, that has not yet been assigned for me. Okay, so karma samagram praviliyate. The previously accumulated karmic bondage, which is that will be cleared. And when that is cleared, what is the result? The karmic bondage is the one that is obstructing us from proceeding with the self-realization, in the direction of self-realization. So those obstacles will be removed. It becomes more and more easy for us to travel in the path of self-realization. Okay, got it? So here, jnana avasthita chetasaha yajnaya acharata. Yajnaya acharata is critical here. So if I perform my work as yajna, then karma samagram praviliyate. I will not be bound by the karmas. My karmic bondage will be cleared. So the key is to perform our duty or our karma as yajna. Okay. Now, when do we say that I'm performing my duty as yajna?
When we practice karma yoga.
When we practice karma yoga.
Karma
Yeah.
yoga.
Yeah. So practice of karma yoga, that karma becomes yajna. Like when I'm practicing the principles of karma yoga, my karma will be turning into yajna. What are those principles? Very quickly, I mean, talk whatever comes to your mind, if you can say.
No attachment to the results, leaving the sense of ownership, right? And we'll have the pretty much equanimity to the success or failure.
And
Minimum
taking
possessions.
the fruits with prasada buddhi.
So
Right. Yes. So ownership, sense of ownership, we have to give away. Sense of doership, we have to give away. We have to give away the expectation of the results, right? And we have to perform that activity as service to God, right? So Paramatma is the owner, Paramatma is the doer, Paramatma is the one who, like, the results belong to Paramatma, right? So he is the one who is giving the blessing as the results, right? So if we are performing any activity without the sense of ownership, doership, and without the desires to get the results, whatever expectations that we have, right? If we are performing our duties, whatever that we need to perform, not out of a desire, and we do it as service to God, then it becomes karma yoga, and that activity becomes a yajna. Okay, and automatically we will be treating it as and whatever results we get, we will be treating them with equanimity. So those things also will come into picture, right? Whatever we learned as part of Akarma practices or Akarma principles. So yeah, so with this particular knowledge, we can clear our karmic bondage. Okay, Jnana Yoga chapter talks about how we need to perform karma yoga. It is not different from karma yoga. Okay, so I mean, typical misconception is, oh, it is different completely, but always Lord Krishna is talking about performing karmas only. But the jnana part is explained in more detail here, or is elaborated here very clearly. Okay, so that's the only difference, right? So fourth chapter is an elaboration on the jnana part of the karma, or jnana that supports karma. Okay. Any questions?
So I know you explained multiple times. So Atma Jnana is not something completely different, right? It's pretty much same thing, that knowing that, okay. So we need, like whatever you explained, right? The principles of karma, knowing that, and while doing karma, keeping them in the mind, basically, right?
Yeah.
That's Atma Jnana, right? That's one of the principles of Atma Jnana. It's not completely different, like you said, right? It's not completely different from.
So Atma Jnana is the basic foundation, first step, right? So Atma Jnana is I am Atma, not body. It's the first. If I say like you perform karma yoga, and if I don't tell you anything about Atma, right? Then you'll question why I should do like this. Why are you asking me to do the work without ownership, doership, giving the, all that, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense to somebody who doesn't know the concepts of Atma, Paramatma. The concept of karma yoga, it doesn't make sense for them. If we know Atma, Paramatma, and Prakriti, these three are the three realities, three distinct realities. For that person, it makes it is easy for them to understand. Otherwise, it doesn't. Like body is different from Atma, right? Now, so who is doing the work? Body is doing the work. Karma Yoga says body is the one that is doing the work, not the Atma. You are not the owner. Atma is not the owner. You don't take ownership of the activity. Whose work is it? Why are you doing the work? It is the body that is, for sustenance of the body, or body that is affected by the gunas from the Prakriti. Body is acting. Now, how can the body work by itself, right? I mean, the body cannot work by itself. So why is the body performing this a particular type of activity? You have the Atma carrying karmic bondage, is carrying the vasanas, and all the and then Paramatma is supporting all the activities. So all these concepts will be able to understand and make sense only if we know Atma Jnanam, and then Paramatma, Prakriti. These are the three distinct realities. And what is permanent, what is not permanent, who is actually doing the work, who gets the result, what kind of result we get. All these things are, they become clear when we know Atma Jnana. So that's why in second chapter starts with Atma. Suddenly, like Lord Krishna doesn't say, hey, it is your duty to fight, you have to fight like this and all. He does not go into Karma Yoga before giving the concepts of Atma. So he first explains Atma and then goes into Karma Yoga. Right? So Atma Jnanam is the basic foundation for Karma Yoga. Now, just Atma Jnanam is not sufficient, right? So there is a Jnana part, that part of the karma, like how I need to do an activity. That is the Jnana part. Like, the Jnana can be of two types. One is a materialistic Jnana. Like if I have to do the coding, I need to do Java, how, I have to read some books to learn Java and then do the coding. That is a materialistic Jnana. There is a Jnana with which we do the activity for us to not get the karmic bondage. That is our goal, right? Not just doing the coding and getting money and enjoying. Okay, that is we are eating sins, so we need to do any activity. The purpose of doing any activity is to clear our karmic bondage. Otherwise, it's good. I mean, it's going to acquire karmic bondage whether we do it or not do it. That's the problem. So if something is our duty and we skip it, that is going to acquire as karmic bondage. Something is our duty and we do it with a sense of ownership, doership, and with expectation on results and doing it for our own enjoyment, then we get the karmic bondage as well. So we are basically punishing ourselves with that kind of, with that jnanam, right? With that lack of jnanam, I would say, right? So we are not going, like, no matter how much money we earn, right? Or no matter how much enjoyments we get, all those enjoyments are only for the body, okay? And those are again of temporary nature, not permanent. Even if you get enjoyment, there's no guarantee. No matter how much money you get, there may not be enjoyment. But even if you get enjoyment, that's temporary. All those concepts are mentioned. Everything makes sense only if we know that we are Atma, not body.
Understand. Thank you. Because I think
Okay.
Atma Jnana seems like a heavy word. That's why I'm kind of asking the question. That's why I know you explained that in chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, very simple. Very simple. Atma. Second chapter is actually summary of all the chapters.
Yeah. Oh,
So it talks about Atma Jnana, it talks about Karma Yoga, it talks about the Jnana with which we have to do the karma, that is, Jnana Yoga part. It talks about Paramatma. He talked about Paramatma, all that bhakti, everything is there in that. All the concepts of Bhagavad Gita, are given. It's like a summary. And then it is elaborated further in, later chapters from 3 to 12. From 13 to 18, again, it's the summary of whatever Lord Krishna mentioned in the previous chapters.
Just to make sure that my understanding is correct. So basically, when we say Atma Gyan in the same breath, but it's two very big and different chapters. Atma, the concept of Atma, which I think Lord Krishna gave in the second chapter, which you said that we are Atma, it's not the body, we don't die. When, Arjuna was confused that, he's going to kill so many people. Is this no? So that is Atma, and the Gyan is what to do about, how to go about our karma, right? So karma yoga. So that is the Jnana part, right? I'm just trying to see that I've got the concept right,
So when we say the word Atma Jnana, we're talking about the knowledge of Atma. We're not talking about the knowledge of how to do the activity. We're not talking about the Jnana Yoga part. Okay. So we're, it's just a Sanskrit word, like Atma Jnana is knowledge of Atma, right?
Okay. Got it.
So when we say Jnana Yoga as chapter 4 is given, that is talking more about, first it starts with giving Avatara Rasa Jnanam, that Jnanam first we get, and then we get the Jnana with which we need to perform the activities. So chapter 4 Jnana Yoga is not part of that Atma Jnana. If you just say Atma Jnana, it is simply talking about, okay, what is Atma, that knowledge.
Got it. Thanks.
Palachikar, I think your audio is mute. Just say something.
I think he's having problems connecting.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, we'll move on to the next sloka. Share again. Okay. Sloka 24. Can you see sloka 24?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and we can see it.
Okay. This is also very important sloka. Let us chant. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihi.
Brahma Arpanam Brahma Avi.
Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam.
Brahmagno Brahmanahutam.
Brahmaivate gantavyam.
Brahmaivate nagantavyam.
Brahma karma samadhina.
Brahma
Karma samadhina.
Together.
Brahmarpanam Brahmavihi. Brahmagno Brahmanahutam. Brahmaivate nagantavyam. Akarma
samadhina. So Lord Krishna said, Yajnaya acharataha. Right? So when we need to perform our karma as yajna. So the next question is, how do you convert that karma to yajna? So Lord Krishna is elaborating on that. So first activity that we take is, this is very simple, right? Use cases. We talk about use cases. So you take one scenario and say, hey, now you're doing this activity. How should I think about doing that activity? Like, what should be my knowledge when I'm doing that activity, which will convert that activity into yajna? Very simple, right? So the first use case Lord Krishna is talking about, our first scenario, is performing the homa, the yajna. In those days, when you say that perform karma as yajna, you're directly referring to a lot of people get an immediate question. Oh, I'm doing, for example, coding. Yajna is actually those who are familiar with the performance of yajna as part of our Vedic scriptures, Vedic practices is there is a homam, and then into the fire you put the homa dravyas, okay, using using some kind of a spoon. Okay. And there is a person, there are some priests, one or more priests around the homa who is performing that activity. That is what people know as yajna, correct? So now, how do we understand what we are doing is equivalent to that kind of yajna, or in other words, how do we take the scenario of yajna itself and understand what is the yajna part in it, not the actual. What should be our thinking behind when we are doing that particular activity, which will convert that whatever they are performing, that action, into yajna. Okay, let us first try to understand. So that's what Lord Krishna is doing here. So when we are performing the homa or yajna, right, as I was explaining, priests are performing the homa as part of Vedic practices. Brahmarpanam, there is an arpanam. Arpanam is the instrument with which they actually pour the material that needs to be put in the fire. Okay, so that is the arpanam. Okay, Lord Krishna. So when we are using that instrument to perform that activity of yajna, how do we need to think about it? We need to think about it as Brahmarpanam, not just a piece of wood. We are just putting the butter and all kinds of grains and all material into the fire. Not just a spoon. You have to whatever's the instrument that is used to perform the yajna is Brahma. Brahma is the instrument. Brahma is the Supreme Lord, Paramatma. Brahma is the material cause of this universe. So when you see the spoon, don't just look at it as a material. Where that material, what is the cause for that material to be created? That how did it come into being? Because of Paramatma. And Paramatma is indweller of that material also. That material that is made up of that instrument, the spoon that you are using to perform the yajna. So that is Brahmarpanam. You consider that instrument as Brahma. Okay? Instrument is Brahma. Brahma is the instrument with which you are performing the yajna. Brahma Havihi. Havihi is the oblation. The oblation is the material that is offered into the fire, okay, into the homa. So any material that is offered in, as a part of that activity, okay, the homa dravyas we call it. Examples would be grains are offered, ghee or clarified butter is offered. So when those are offered, don't see them as just the grains or butter, just offering. I'm just offering. They are that is the oblation is also Brahma. Again, Brahma is the material cause of that. Those homa dravyas, and Brahma is the inventor, right? So you're offering the homa dravyas, that is Brahma. Then next is Brahmana, Brahmagnau Putam. Brahmana, by Brahma. Brahmagnau, in the fire of Brahma. Okay. So Brahmana, Brahmagnau Hutam is, so the using the instrument, taking the material, and you're offering. That hutam is a offering or offered, where into the fire of that homa. Okay, homakunda. That is Brahmagna, into the fire of Brahma. So don't look at it as a fire, right? Not just you're offering to Brahma, who is in the form of that fire, into the fire of Brahma, right? So you are offering to Brahma, not to the fire material thing, right? Okay, so that material, that fire that you see is also Brahma. Okay, so and who is performing that activity? The priests are performing, or when we are doing, let us say, if we are fortunate to do it, don't look at yourself as person X is doing. Again, the Brahma is performing the activity. Okay, Brahma is the agent of the action, not the not the Atma, that I am doing it. No. So when we are performing that yajna, it is Brahma is the agent who is performing the activity, using the instrument which is created by Brahma, and Brahma is the indweller of that instrument. With that instrument, you are offering some material. That material is also created by Brahma. Brahma is the indweller of that. Okay, supported by Paramatma. Then you are offering into the fire of Brahma. So we are actually offering it to Paramatma through that fire, in the form of fire. So everywhere you're seeing connecting to Brahma only. Okay. So then Lord Krishna said, Brahma karma samadhina. Samadhi is it means buddhi that is firmly fixed, or where it is fixed, it is fixed in the. So basically, our wisdom is firmly fixed in our manas, our mind. That's when we call it a samadhi. Okay, firmly fixed. It is not, this moment it is there, next moment it is not there. Not like that. Or when wind comes, it will blow away. Not kind of that kind of thing. So it is firmly fixed, no matter what, right? So when the wisdom is firmly fixed, that is called a samadhi. Now, what kind of samadhi is Brahma karma samadhi? Brahma karma samadhi na means by one. That's a third vibhakti. So by one who has Brahma karma samadhi. Okay, Brahma karma samadhi is who meditates on Brahma in all the works. Okay, whose mind is totally filled with Brahma. Okay, who is meditating on Brahma as the soul of the works. Now these are all, the same meaning, but I'm just elaborating it so that it fixes in our mind. Okay, so when we are performing the activity, as we are saying, right, one like a person is using an instrument with the material into the fire. Everywhere it is connected to Brahma, right? So that is firmly fixed. So that you're always meditating on Brahma, the Paramatma, in all the activities that you're doing. Then that person is having Brahma karma samadhi. Okay. So another way of looking at it is Brahma karma samadhi is all these karmas belong to Brahma, not mine. Then Brahma is the agent of the karma. They are done as an offering to Brahma, as his worship. The result belongs to him. If you have this wisdom, and that wisdom is firmly fixed in mind, then that person has you can refer to that person as Brahma Karma Samadhi. Brahma Karma Samadhina is by the one who has Brahma Karma Samadhi, the wisdom of Brahma Karma. So then what happens when the yajna is performed by this person? Tena Brahma eva gantavyam. Tena, by that one, by that person, Brahma eva gantavyam. Brahma alone is obtained. Okay. So when you are doing the activity of yajna with this connecting always to Brahma, then you will attain Brahma. Okay. So you will attain self-realization. You will attain the truth of ourselves. That is, we are Atma and Paramatma is indweller in us. It's not like we are Paramatma. We are Atma, and Paramatma is indweller in us also, in Atma also, right? There's a slight variation in interpretations, but the it is consistent throughout Bhagavad Gita. So when a yajna is performed with this knowledge, then it becomes true yajna. That is not binding. That leads one to Paramatma or leads one to self-realization. Okay. So Brahmarpanam, Brahma Havihi, Brahmagna, Brahmanahutam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. One who has this wisdom of connecting Brahma to all the works, meditating on Brahma in every work they do, by that one, they attain self-realization or God realization.
So is it a suggestion that we have to, as part of our, karma yoga, we have to do the homa also? Means we got to do that.
Okay.
Fire,
Very good question.
putting,
So,
the things in, sorry.
So that is a very good question. So it is not that only the person who is doing the homa is getting self-realization or is attaining Paramatma. No. Okay. If we do the yajna as given here with that knowledge, with that wisdom, then that person gets self-realization. Now, you replace that yajna with any activity. It's a very good question. So this is what I want to. That's why this this particular sloka is very important. So here it is, the activity is the homa, performing this fire sacrifice, homa or yajna. All these are synonyms. So that is the activity that we are taking. However, it can be applied to any activity that we do. Any activity, we use an instrument, right? We have to, link it to Paramatma. Okay, the instrument is Brahma, is Paramatma, no matter what the instrument is. Like, say, for example, we are using the computer for doing our work. Okay, so computer is Brahma. Okay, if you are building something, then we are using some, some kind of sharp objects, screws and bolts and nuts and hammers and all that. Every instrument is Brahma. Okay, it's not that you have to suddenly start treating that instrument as, oh no, it is Brahma, no, I cannot use it. It's not that way. Paramatma is the indweller. Paramatma is the cause for that particular instrument. Typically, what we don't connect, and when we are using computer, I don't know how many times we think that Paramatma is indweller in that computer, right? How many times did it occur to us? Almost never, right? So any instrument that we use, Paramatma is the material cause. I mean, he is the one who created that. Because of his blessings, that computer is created. We think that it is created in a factory, and then somebody shipped it to a shop, and then we bought it. Okay, but without Paramatma's, Paramatma creating that material itself, you won't get, right? So, and all the activities that have happened in order to build this particular computer happened as a result of Paramatma's blessings. So this computer exists because of Paramatma, and Paramatma is the indweller of this computer. So we see Paramatma, and I don't have to think that only that spoon that is used in a yajna is Paramatma, nothing else. No, any activity that we are doing, okay, whatever instrument we use, we treat it as Brahma. Okay. That's why in the olden days, the books that people use, right? They treat it with respect. They don't just keep throwing and putting their feet on the books and things like that. So, so every instrument is Paramatma. Now, then we use certain material to perform our work. Any material that we use is again blessing of Paramatma. Paramatma is the indweller in that material. Paramatma is the one who is supporting it. Paramatma is the one who gave the material to us. It is like, for example, if we are using some grains, in that particular yajna, grains we didn't build the grains, right? Grains are, they're grown in a farm, and then because of the rain it came, and because of the sun, and because of the wind and all the temperature, proper temperature, then the grains actually came into being. So there is a reason why that whatever material we are using, it is present because of Paramatma. We need to have that thinking. Not that I bought it in the shop. Okay. So let us take, for example, I'm cooking. Okay. Cooking, we are using the utensils. We are using the stove, So those are all the instruments. The material that we are using is rice and vegetables and all that. Okay. So that is, again, Paramatma's blessings. Paramatma is the one who gave the material to us. With his blessings, we are able to use it. Now, then, who is cooking? For what purpose? Okay. So now, if I am, this activity is mine, I am doing this activity for my own sake, then it's not yajna. This, I am just an instrument in cooking. Paramatma is the agent in enabling me to perform this activity. I'm just an instrument in the hands of Paramatma. Okay. So again, behind me also Paramatma is there. Paramatma is making me or giving me that energy to do cooking. Then whatever we are cooking is not offered to us like for our own purpose, eating. It is offered to Paramatma in us. It is offered to Paramatma. First we offer it symbolically, like we offer it to our deities, and then we offer it to Paramatma in us. Okay, so again, we converted cooking from just an act of cooking into a yajna. It became yajna.
Yeah, and also on that note, means the generation before us, before eating, they used to do the navedya. They would take each thing that was there in the food and keep it, aside, and they say this is for God, So yeah, they had that tradition, but unfortunately now, people will think,
So
okay, it's
yeah,
all
at least they
old-fashioned,
were able to
what are you
see.
doing? Yeah.
Right. So they're able to see that the purpose of cooking is to offer it to Paramatma, not for us to eat. Yes, we need it for our survival.
Now,
Okay.
very few people are doing it. I know a couple of families that they do it. Anything they cook.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes. Anything they cook, the first offer to Paramatma, they put it in front of God, and after some time they take the food.
So, sir, I mean, many ways of doing it. We can take the entire, whatever we cook and offer it to Paramatma, or we can offer it, in our mind, at least that part. And because sometimes we will not be able to carry that to wherever, Paramatma in our home, and then sometimes, let us say we are eating in outside. For example, we go to office and then we are eating whatever, right? So it doesn't mean that we should not offer it to Paramatma. Offer it to Paramatma. Whatever we are eating, offer it to. So actually eating is also yajna only. So we are the material is the food that we are eating. Who are we offering it to? Is Paramatma, right? And what is the instrument? So how the food came to us, right? And what kind of instruments that we are using to eat? Finally, our hand is also an instrument. So, and our mouth is an instrument. So these are all the instruments in offering it to Paramatma. So we are behind every instrument is Paramatma. Behind the material is Paramatma. And we are offering it to Paramatma. So it becomes yajna. Eating becomes yajna. Actually, that's what will come later in later slokas.
One doubt. I think when we are eating, also sometimes some people round plate on top of they are going to puja or whatever. They put it water rounding and then performing something, and then they can take the food. What is the meaning of that exactly? Is that the food is a plate, whatever they got it, that plate is going to offering to the God, and then they are taking, or what is the meaning exactly?
So just like how we perform yajna, right? Like there is a procedure that is given. There's a agama procedure or Vedic procedures that are there for any activity. So there's a mantra, there's a chanting that you need to do, and in a particular way. Okay. So we need to learn that from our gurus, acharyas, and then do it if we have to do it properly, right? For example, if I'm doing puja, I can do in, like, if I don't know anything, I just sit in front of God in our home, and then just say whatever we want. But there is a agama shastra, there are some mantras that you need to chant. So there is a procedure. So I mean, without going into all the details, that is the procedure for.
This is also offering to the God, or some.
Yeah, same thing. So it is basically the procedure that is given to us by our acharyas to a proper way of offering. See, thing is, if you do a particular procedure, you basically bring some sanctity to it. Isn't it? I mean, when you simply just do whatever you want, you don't feel that sanctity. I mean, I'm putting that in practical terms. There may be other reasons, but whenever we when we do any activity, let us say there is a procedure that is given to it, and then we perform it with that. There is some sanctity, some we feel that we brought some sanctity to it. We qualified that, right? Not just whatever we think we do it. Okay, but primary thing that we are learning in Bhagavad Gita is that we have to perform this activity as service to God, as an offering to God, right? Okay, he's the agent, he's the instrument, he's the material, he's the and we are offering it as service to God. If you do that
Yeah.
activity, then it becomes yajna. Okay.
Yeah, there is a sloka or it's a small poem. I don't remember in Telugu. Some words I know. So what we can Induled andu galadu endendu vetikina something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean that
Right,
is slow padya from Telugu and
right.
Prahlada.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So yeah, God is the indweller of the entire universe. There is no place in this universe where God does not exist, right? Even a small atom, even at the atom level, subatom level, Paramatma always exists, and also exists in Atma as well. Okay, so Paramatma is the indweller, is the Narayana, so with that, if we perform the activity, then it becomes yajna. So that is the purpose of this particular sloka. You perform it in the previous sloka. He said, you perform your activity as yajna, then you will not be bound. Okay, your karmic bondage will be cleared. Now, how do I convert my activity into yajna? One of the activities is actually performing the yajna as prescribed in our Vedic scriptures. And how do you convert that into the yajna that he's talking about? Okay, so that's what he explained. Now we can elaborate it, apply to whatever activities that we are doing. It's very easy for us to apply the same analogy to any work that we are doing, okay, as we saw right now. So if we do the activity as yajna, then we are not born. Okay. Move on to the next sloka. Is okay. Sloka 25. Listen. Daivameva pare yajnam
Yajnam
yoginah paryupasate
Yogena
paryupasate
brahmagnava pare yajnam
Brahma-pare-yagyam
yajnenaivopajuhvati
Yajne-eva-bhuvati.
Listen.
Daivam
Devam-evam
Pare
yagyam
apare-yagyam
yoginam
yoginam-vasate
Brahma
Brahma-agno-pare-yagyam Yajne-eva-bhuvati.
Okay. So now, what are the other kinds of activities? Now, slowly is giving the different scenarios or use cases and explaining how these karma yogis, what kind of activities karma yogis perform as yajna. Okay. So Lord Krishna is saying, apare yoginaha. Apare yoginaha is some other yogis or some other karma yogis. See, we have to, whenever the word yogi comes without any other words, then you can safely say, okay, karma yoga. Yoga is karma yoga. So, apare yoginaha. Apare means others. Other karma yogis. What do they do? Daivam paripasate. Okay. Daivam paripasate is worship devatas. Okay. Yajnameva. Okay. Now worshipping devatas, they worship it as yajna only. They worship as yajna only. So now see, it is not mandatory that you have to perform that homa. As that's the only thing that will be yajna. No. The karma yogis, there are karma yogis who perform the worship of devatas as yajna only. Okay, as a form of yajna. Okay, yajna, the word yajna is translated as sacrifice in English. Okay, but I feel it should be called a service, not a sacrifice. They're not giving up anything, which is ours. Sacrifice is typically I'm sacrificing this means I'm the rightful owner, but I'm giving up. Okay, but it is not. I mean, we are not rightful owner of any activity, any result. So, but okay. So yajna, I just want to say, because it is widely translated it as sacrifice. That's what you will see. That's what you will hear. There are some karma yogis who are performing the worship of devatas as yajna only. Okay. So what kind of so in temples, primarily in temples, the priests, they perform all kinds of worship, right? So that is also done as yajna. Same concepts. There's material, there are instruments, who is doing it, for whose sake we are doing it. Okay, and how for who we are offering it to. Okay, so so now Lord Krishna doesn't talk about details again. So here Lord Krishna is giving different use cases or different scenarios or different karma yogis and what their activities are and how they're performing it as yajna. So now in this sloka, Lord Krishna is talking about those who perform worship of devatas. They are also performing it as yajna only. Apare, so then again, some other. Upajuhvati yajnena brahmagnau. So yajnena brahmagnau apare yajnam yajnena upajuhvati is there in the next two lines, right? So upajuhvati is performing homa. Okay. Yajnena brahmagnau yajnameva. With the material and instruments used in yajna, that is yajnena, brahmagnau, into the fire of Brahma, yajnameva, as yajna only. Okay. So Lord Krishna is saying that those who are performing puja or worship of devatas, they are performing it as yajna. Okay. Those who are performing homa, okay, they are performing it as yajna. Okay. Here again, I think it's repeating. Brahmagno is yajnena yajnameva upajuhvati. So into the fire of Brahma, using the instruments and material as and they're doing it as yajna. So here Lord Krishna didn't say the Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, and Brahmena. So he, Lord Krishna is saying that even any homa that we perform, that can be performed as yajna, by considering that, again, the same principles, the instruments are Brahma, material is Brahma, into the fire of Brahma, okay, as offering to Brahma. By the one who is performing is also Brahma, is the agent of action. So then that homa becomes a yajna. Okay.
Easy
So
Easy
in the previous sloka, Lord Krishna gave a general framework. Okay, and he associated Brahma or Paramatma to every activity, so every entity, every activity, every being. Okay. Now in this sloka and subsequent slokas, he's going to give us what are the different types of karmas that are performed as yajnas. The different types of karmas which are performed as yajnas, they are called as vikarmas. So in the previous, if you remember, few slokas back, Lord Krishna mentioned about karma, akarma, and vikarma. We need to know, right? So he talked about karma, talked about akarma before. Now Lord Krishna is mentioning about various karmas which are performed as yajna, which is termed as vikarmas. Okay, variety of karmas or various karmas, vividham karmas. Okay, vikarma has different meanings somewhere else, but here in this particular concept, we're talking about all different karmas. It's not viruddham karma. Performing puja is not viruddham karma. And performing yajna is not viruddham. So vikarma is vividham karma, various karmas. Lord Krishna is talking about those various karmas. Not just in this sloka, it will come in future slokas as well. The basic framework is given the previous sloka, Brahmagnu, Brahmahavihi, right? So we learned about performing worship as yajna and performing homa as yajna.
But is Paramatma criticizing in here? No, right? He's just saying, right?
Paramatma what? I'm sorry.
No, is he criticizing? Is he criticizing or
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I mean, when I said this is vikarma, sometimes, it is translated in some books as viruddham karmas. I just want to mention it because, someone who is just listening to this later point of time, right? They don't get confused. Okay, so after explaining about karma, Lord Krishna is now talking about vikarmas. Okay, and how they are performed as yajnas. Giving the framework in the previous sloka, how we, by the one who has the wisdom of unswerving wisdom of connecting Brahma to all karmas. Okay, meditating on Brahma in every activity that they do. Okay, when they are doing this these are all the different activities. When they're performing, it becomes yajna. So worship of devatas is yajna, performing homa is yajna. Now here, anybody can do, right? There are, anybody who is participating in homa need not be the one who is actually performing the yajna, offering into the fire. Like you may be the one who is getting the material to the yajna, or doing all kinds of activities in order to perform the yajna, maybe building that place or securing that place, whatever it is.
I think even observing the priest or the act of homa being done is also part of, would count as yajna, the person who is sitting there and watching it and all that.
Right. So whatever activity that we do can be converted to yajna. It will come later. Even seeing can be converted to yajna. I mean, seeing can be done as yajna, not converted, as yajna. Okay. So we'll move on to the next sloka. Sloka 26. Sloka 26.
Yes, sir. We can see it in. Yeah.
Listen. Srotraadinindriyanyanye
Sotradine
Shrotradirindriyanyanye
indriyane anye
samyamagnishu juhvati
samyamagnishujuhvati
Javati
sabdadin vishayananye
sabdadin
Adina
vishayananye
Vishayananye
indriyagnishu juhvati.
indriyajuhvati
Indriyajuhvati
Let's chant together.
Srotradirindriyanyanye
Adinindriyanye
samyamagnishu
Juhvati
sabdadin
Shabdadin Vishayana
vishayananye
Anye
indriyajuhvati
Juhvati.
So, in this particular sloka, Lord Krishna is broadening the scope now. Okay. Anye. Okay. Some other. Okay. Again, some other karma yogis. Juhvati is offered as oblation, offering material into the fire, right? That is, in case of a yajna or homa, okay, they're offering some material into the fire. But here, it is not the homa activity. Here, what is the activity? Srotradini indriyani. Okay. So Srotradi is a hearing. Okay. So Indriya abilities such as hearing. So what are all the Indriyas abilities? There are 5 Indriyas that we have. What are the abilities?
Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha.
Very good. Yes. So hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, and seeing. So these 5 abilities of our senses. Sotradini indriyani. Samyama agnishu juhvati. In the fire of self-control. Samyama is self-control. Agnishu, in the fire. So here the fire is not the actual fire. Okay. The fire that we see. Where we are offering this, whatever the abilities, the Indriya abilities are there, like hearing and all that, we are offering them into the fire of self-control. Okay. So those are the material that we are offering. Okay. So again, we are linking to the Yajna concept, the framework. In that framework, what we have certain material. We are offering that material into the fire. That was the framework. And there he explained how do we apply our knowledge. So here, what is the material that we are using? So if we take, let us say, hearing as a yajna. Okay. So the act of hearing, how do we consider that? Whatever abilities that we have, that we offer it into the fire of self-control. That is one type of karma. What does that mean? Offering hearing to the fire of self-control. What does that mean?
Anything, anything bad you are hearing, or
I think it's the Gandhiji principles, right?
Okay. Yes. Yes. And yeah, perfectly said. Yeah, keeping the senses away from the sense object. That is self-control. I mean, I see, tasty food on the table, and if I have self-control, I will not eat it. Okay. If I am not supposed to eat it, I will not eat it. So that is also yajna. I mean, how can I mean, if you're doing that activity of self-control, that is also yajna. Okay, so there's a movie that is going on, and you're not watching it. You're applying the self-control there, right? That is yajna. The activity is not actually hearing or seeing, right? It is actually you kept your senses away from it. That activity is also yajna. You can do that also as yajna. Apply the same principles. Okay. Now, then he said, Lord Krishna said, so that is one type of vikarma. One vikarma is abstaining from the sensory pleasures. Okay. Then second, he talked about siddhadin vishayan anye indriya agnishu juhvate. So now, siddhadin vishayan is the vishayas, like or such as siddha. Siddha is sound. Vishaya is object of our senses. So sound is object of which sense? Hearing, right?
Hearing.
Hearing.
Yeah, ears. So that sound. So Lord Krishna is saying, Anye, there are others who are offering this sound into the fire of indriyas, into the fire of senses, as an oblation. I mean, that activity, they're doing it as yajna. So that's why whenever they say anye, we are saying it as karma yoga, karma yogis. Some other karma yogis are offering the vishayas, the objects of our senses, into the fire of senses. Okay, so there you are actually hearing. See, in the previous example, you are abstaining, you are not performing the activity of experiencing the senses, because self-control. You applied self-control and you are not doing that activity of hearing, smelling, and all that. But here, when you experience your senses, when you are experiencing the vishayas or the sense objects through our senses, you don't treat it like I'm experiencing myself. Then your indriyas become the fire. You offer it to that fire as service to Paramatma. So you consider whatever you are hearing is because of Paramatma. You are, again, it could be a material that is outside, which is causing that experience to you, that is supported by Paramatma. The activity is performed by Paramatma. You're offering it is to Paramatma. The senses are the fire. Through the fire, you are offering to, I mean, of course, senses are the one that are experiencing, right? So through the senses, you are offering it to Paramatma. Don't, we should not be treating it as, say, for example, eating, taste, right? So eating is an activity. So you're considering that material is supported by Paramatma, given to us by Paramatma. Now you're eating that activity. When you do it as yajna, you're offering it to Paramatma through our senses. So our tongue experiences it. You're offering that to Paramatma, right? So the taste is not for you. Taste is to be experienced by Paramatma. And then, whatever purpose that we are eating, it is everything is offered to Paramatma only. There is no place where we come into picture in between. I'm pausing it so that it will sink in. So, I mean, when we are eating, it is that activity, when we do it as a yajna, we always connect to Paramatma only, from start to finish. I do not come into picture at all. My do not come into picture at all. For my to enjoy does not come into picture at all. Okay.
So when we say about offering the hearing to to sacrifice, no, Sabdadin Vishayan Naniye. So you're talking about what is being referred
So,
to?
I mean, those are the material. I mean, that you consider whatever you are hearing is the material.
Material.
Okay. And you're pouring the material, like apply the concept, the framework that is given there. Yajna framework. Yajna framework is the material is offered into the fire. Right? Here, what is the material? Whatever you are hearing is the material. Whatever you are eating is the material. Whatever you're seeing is the material. Right? Don't offer it to yourself. Right? You offer it to Paramatma. I mean, which is through fire. Right? There also you're offering to Paramatma through fire. In the form of fire. Here, we are offering it to Paramatma through our senses, because the senses are the ones that are experiencing whatever we are offering, whatever we are consuming, right? So senses become the fire. So we are offering that material, that oblation, okay, into the fire of senses. Okay, so self-control is another fire where we are, offering that that ability as a material. We are giving it away. So we are offering it to self-control. We are not offering it to the senses. Imagine self-control is an imaginary place. So that ability, we are putting that in self-control bucket or self-control fire. So you don't experience whatever is that material is, right? But if the same material is put in the senses, then you experience it. Now, don't treat it as your experience. You're offering it as a yajna. You're performing that activity as yajna. Whatever material that is consumed, that is that is given as an offering into the fire of senses. Okay. So anything that we experience with our senses can be converted to yajna. Anything that we decide not to experience out of self-control, that is also yajna. Right? So these are all the different vikarmas. Now hearing is a vikarma, tasting is vikarma, So all these various karmas can be converted to yajna. Every activity can release us from karmic bondage. So you don't have to actually do the worship of devatas in a temple, or do the activity of yajna, the homa activity itself, right? It's not necessary. That is one type. I mean, every activity that we do can be can also release us, and there's no like if you are doing this activity, you get 1 point. You are doing that activity, you get 100 points. You get 1,000 points. There's no point system here. Lord Krishna didn't say anywhere that one activity is lower compared to other when he's giving all these examples. Right. That's why in our history, from where various forms of life, people got moksha, or they were blessed. Right? It's not that only a person of one type of activity will be getting moksha. No. Whatever may be the activity that somebody is doing, you convert it into yajna and do it, then it will become, you'll be on the path towards liberation. So that is the principle of equality. That is the statue of equality that Swamiji is trying to spread that knowledge. And typically, if I do only this kind of activity, or if I'm born in this particular race, caste, creed, and whatever it is, that kind of activity is the only one that will give me moksha. Not necessary. Everybody is equal opportunity. Whatever activities that we are assigned to do, if we do it as yajna, that's it. I mean, there's no difference. We completed 26. It's 9:30. Any questions? Any other questions before we conclude? So this is, Lord Krishna is going to give more examples, and then, we understand very clearly that, all these vikarmas can lead us to liberation. Okay, so we shouldn't be thinking that, oh, okay, I'm not able to do this kind of activity or that activity. Okay.
Thank you, Arne. Thank
Other
you.
questions will conclude.
So much.
Concluding prayer.
Thank you. Jai Sri Manara.
Thank you. Kayena vacha mansendriyarva buddhatmana va prakde swabhavat karomi yajit sakalam parasmai narayanaya samarpayami Srimanarayanaya samarpayami Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu Vasudgurubhyo Namaha Jai Sri Manara. So we actually end our session with Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. So we are offering this to Paramatma, right? A service to Paramatma. Okay, we are just the instruments in doing the activity. He is the one who is the agent. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jai Sri Manara.
Thank you. Jai Sri Manara.